the Gaming Lovers Podcast with Brendo and Jem.
And here we are again.
Welcome back. I'm Jem.
I am Brendo.
And we are the Gaming Lovers.
Do-do-do-do-do.
So, last week, we had a gaming goal set.
Yes.
And your gaming goal was to finish God of War.
Yes, which I was thoroughly enjoying, quite deep into, and it's hard when you don't... I try to go in as blind as possible with games. So I don't look at trophy lists. I don't look at how long it takes to beat a game. So usually I'm going off an estimation of how far into a game I am. And in multiple occasions in my gaming history, I've been well off the mark when I thought the end was just around the corner. But smashed out about another 10 to 15 hours since our last podcast. End credits have rolled, but I'm still playing feverishly because I can't stop. It's
one
fantastic.
Of those games. Is it a bit like a Marvel movie where there's stuff after the credits?
This is a spoiler-free podcast. You
Unless
still
you do
play
spoilers.
as credits roll.
Ooh.
Well, you're still... it's not just a black screen with a crawl. But anyway, there's just so many odd jobs to do. I thought I would complete the story and then just move on to the next title in my ever-abundant backlog.
Yep.
And yet I immediately found new things to do, places I haven't been yet, and I just can't stop playing.
Well, it sounds like you've achieved your goal.
Yes,
Congratulations.
Put a tick in that little bleep bloop for that achievement, or a little bling. That's more appropriate because it's a PlayStation game. What about yourself? What were you targeting for your to-do list?
I was going to finish Danganronpa V3.
Killing Harmony.
It might have been a tad ambitious, although in my defense, I have been kind of sick this week. And
that's your excuse. I couldn't play video games because I'm unwell,
No,
laying in bed for 12
There are
hours.
some video games that you can play when you're sick. There are others when you need all of your faculties available to you, and that is one of those games. You need to be able to think.
Yes, I suppose that is a very good point. Complex, twisty plot.
Yes, and doing, the trials, the class trials, I really need to pay attention. That's usually hours of intense concentration for me. So I feel like I'm close, but knowing that game, sometimes they suck you in just when you think you've finished it, and they go, oh wait, here's another twist, and you're like, what?
Well, I will give you a pass because you have been unwell, but I will need a doctor's certificate to...
Seeing me cough and splutter around the house and my mountain of tissues wasn't enough.
Well, look, some people have sick days so they can play games. You've had a sick day from playing games. It's just a bit strange.
It is. It's a bit of a topsy-turvy world, isn't it?
All right, Jim. So what are we talking about today?
We wanted to talk about party games that we love.
Well, we throw parties semi-regularly in this house. There's always a New Year's or a birthday party where we get a gathering together. And even non-gamers get involved with these sort of games.
Mm-hmm.
And usually we'll have a TV with a dedicated party game console set up.
Yes.
And whoever's wandering by, we like to play games that are easy to pick up, easy to play, and a whole lot of fun. And most importantly, catch the eye of those spectators to go, oh, I want to give that a shot.
Yes. I think a key element to that is something that's fun to watch, because a lot of video games kind of suck if you're just sitting there watching someone else play, because you're like, this is boring, I want to play.
Yeah.
So if you have something that's entertaining for people to watch, it can bring more people together as well. So these are our go-to games, or were our go-to games. I wanted to reflect on some of our favourites from our childhood as well, which still come out to play if we bring out the Nintendo 64 or something.
Oh, well, yes, of course.
Exactly. Classics. But games that if you were having mates over or wanted to host a tournament at a bar. There's places that do that here in Melbourne.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much fun. So this is our list of party games we love.
Before we start, talking of parties, my 30th birthday party was Party Game Central.
You're
Because
welcome.
I was caught completely off guard. I was taken out for a lovely day of shopping and seeing some sights. And I got ushered towards the gold class cinemas. And I thought, oh, okay, excellent. Little birthday treat. We're going to see a movie in comfort. Going to eat some nice food.
Mm-hmm.
This will be nice. I step into the cinema, and what's going on? It's my Wii U set up on a cinema screen. All my friends and family are there. We're playing Mario Kart for hours on end in a cinema, and that was fantastic.
I am pretty proud of that particular birthday party. That took a while to plan. I was so sure you were onto me.
No. You know one thing about me, I do not like spoilers, and I decided to be oblivious to every clue.
You say that, but you love unraveling mysteries. You are a walking contradiction.
It is an eternal battle in my brain.
Anyways, so obviously Mario Kart I think would be at the top of our list because that was what we played. And that, for me, is one of the most accessible games in just gaming history.
We had 6-year-olds playing against 60-year-olds, and everybody was able to pick up. It was the Wii controllers, so it was actually motion sensing.
Yep.
No tiny little button presses to steer. That's one issue most people have with driving games is that they oversteer a lot.
Yeah.
They hold the direction far too long. It's just little feather taps work out much better. But that was not even an issue because we had the motion controls.
Mm-hmm.
So accessible, fun, laughter abounds because you never know who's getting that bullet bill and suddenly last place is smacking everybody into first.
Or that infamous blue shell.
Well,
Bane of my existence. I pride myself on using skill to usually get through most of the race at the front until someone or several people hit me with shells over and over again, and then I come last. I'm like, you jerks.
well, you should wear that as a badge of honor because only players who are good hate blue shells. Players who love the blue shells, usually not so good.
But to be fair, I kind of love that randomness of Mario Kart because it does help equalize the playing field. You can have little kids play and not feel like they're at a huge disadvantage against the adults.
Yes.
Because they have those things and it makes it fun. Frustrating,
Yes.
absolutely, but fun. I think, but most games, any party game or any board game for that matter, can be frustrating and can cause arguments. So you've just got to be prepared for that regardless.
Agreed.
All right. If we're reflecting on old school games, for me, one of my favourites for when we had friends over when I was a kid, going back to the Nintendo 64, was 007 GoldenEye.
Oh, yeah.
Love
That was
that.
the pinnacle of split-screen shooter action at the time.
Absolutely. So much fun. And even if you had like a tiny TV, which got even smaller because it would be split into 4 parts, it was just so much fun. And you'd get to choose what character and inevitably...
No picking Oddjob because he was half the size of every other character. That's cheating.
I think me and my sisters used to fight over the girls. So because there was only 2 girls that you could play as.
I'm guessing Natalia and Xenia.
I'm amazed that you could remember the other one.
I
knew Natalia off the top of my head.
Fan of Bond, so and GoldenEye in particular has had some playtime.
And those thighs of steel.
Yeah.
I'm getting so sidetracked. But that was so much fun because you could replay it on all the different levels pretty much throughout the game.
Yep.
And you could have handicaps. You could have people that could die with 1 bullet or could survive hundreds of bullets, regardless of how you wanted to play.
And the Nintendo 64 came with 4 controller slots, which I don't believe any console beforehand
it was always
had
2.
4. Yeah, everything that I can think of off the top of my head has 4. I'm sure I'm wrong. I'm sure there's a obscure console
Possibly.
I've forgotten about. But yeah, that was...
But the PlayStation from memory only had 2 spots.
Yeah, or you could get a multi-tap, which was an accessory that had... It was like a weird-looking boomerang thing you could plug more controllers into.
That'd be very rare, though. I especially growing up, I don't remember ever really seeing anything like that. But
for convenience...
Yeah.
Nintendo 64 had a lot of good games. Mario Kart 64, obviously.
Yes.
Smash Brothers, another good party game.
Absolutely.
Requires a bit
one of
more
my favourites. And Kirby being one of my go-to characters, which drives you bonkers.
Yes, well, I'm good at Smash Brothers, but sometimes I have trouble with Kirby.
AKA me.
Well, in my defense, I play random characters almost every round. So I'm always trying someone different. Someone maybe I wouldn't be as familiar with in a certain round. Mm-hmm. And you are just Kirby, 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 Kirby.
And that's how you get really good at that character. Although I learnt the hard way that just because I'm good against you as Kirby does not mean I'm good against someone who's at like a pro level as Kirby. When I went to a friend of mine's place, they had a big tournament with their work, and they got like the old GameCube controllers out and everything, but I think it was the most recent Smash Brothers. Mm-hmm. And he played as Kirby. He even had an amiibo Kirby that was fully leveled up, and I'm like, okay, this is another level. And I was not prepared.
You're prepared for that one.
He cottoned on to my strategy pretty quickly and smashed me. As the title does imply.
Indeed. Well, let's go a bit more modern. What else do we have on our frequent rotation in these parties?
All right. Well, if we were to host a party tomorrow, my first suggestion would be JackBox.
JackBox is a cracking good time.
And the great thing is JackBox isn't just one game. It is like a multitude of party games. And all you need smartphones and good Wi-Fi.
And again, that's another very good thing about JackBox. You don't have to buy controllers. Mm-hmm. Most of these games, you want to have friends over, you want to play games with 4 players, it's either shell out the bucks, and those controllers ain't cheap these days.
No, they never have been though.
Or you need friends who are willing to bring stuff over, which can also be a hassle if they're the ones who no-show the party. Mm-hmm.
Or if they don't sync to your PlayStation, which has happened a couple of times.
Yeah. But people are familiar with their smartphones. They're always always on their phones all day, every day. Mm-hmm. And so they're familiar with it. And it doesn't require a great learning curve either.
Yeah.
You just got to learn the rule of the game that you're playing, and away you go.
I think we've had parties at JackBox, whether it's at Christmas or New Year's, where we've had like a full capacity, everyone using our Wi-Fi. And I think that's the only time it's really slowed down was when we had maybe 10 people all using our internet at the same time, just probably because it couldn't handle that many people. The
modem was a little overwhelmed.
The NBN is like struggling. It's like, I can't live up to this. Australia, you need to get your internet speeds up to scratch.
What, we're not the leading data holders? No? Okay.
Let's not go there. So I brought that up. Apologies.
But yeah, JackBox has great variety, always at risk of dying of laughter. And again, multiple ages can play because most of the games in the recent party packs have family filters as well.
Yes, which is so good.
If you want to limit the
innuendos.
If you want to limit the innuendo, you can keep it PG, which is always good when you're trying to host a party for a variety of groups.
Absolutely. In the same vein, there is another one called That's You, which requires an app download, but at least it's free. But that it's slightly different because it requires more selfies. I think like when we played that, I think we've only really played it once. We had a lot of fun, but I think it's the kind of game you would want to play with people you know pretty well.
Yeah, that's on the PS4 PlayLink series.
Yes.
You do need to know people because it's all about who would be the most likely to fill in the blanks. Or it's all about knowing. And then if you've got a tight group of friends and they just go, yeah, that's Roger. Yeah. That's definitely Roger, that one.
So if you've got like a good close clique of mates or even just a big family that loves playing games like this together, that would be a lot of fun. And some of the selfies and then the drawings that you draw over the selfies are hilarious. So worth checking out, especially because it's free.
Yeah.
Well, at least the app is.
And if there's one thing that can cause more stress than actively fighting against each other in games, it's trying to work together in games while everything falls apart around you. And one of my favorite games to watch people play, more than I enjoy playing it itself, Overcooked. Now, you've got up to 4 people frantically trying to piece together food orders.
Yes.
Doesn't always go that well.
No.
Rats are stealing ingredients. Someone's chopped up an onion instead of a tomato, and suddenly the burger's ruined.
And then everything's on fire.
The fire extinguisher is over in the other truck that we're currently not in. Someone needs to get that hamburger off the grill immediately. Oh, it's burnt. Oh, everything's going badly.
Oh,
it's
fell
your
off
fault.
the iceberg.
This is your fault. No, it's your fault.
There is a lot of yelling. I will say I take some slight evil pleasure out of putting unsuspecting like family and friends into that game without really telling them what they're doing.
It starts
and just
off...
saying, just communicate, just tell each other what you need to do, and then just watch. And I'm like, get me some popcorn because this is gonna be good.
The first few levels are smooth as butter. You've got like onions, tomatoes, and something else.
Yeah, they keep it really basic.
And it's like, okay, we need an onion soup. Chop onion, put it in the pot, cook it. There we go, done.
Into the bowl,
Easy
serve
peasy.
It. Yep.
Once you start getting up a few levels, it is chaos. Chaos!
It took us a while to get through that game, but it was fun. I think there was a certain feeling of satisfaction when we finally beat through the story and we got 3 stars on every level. We're like, yes, we accomplished something. Isn't it funny how that false sense of satisfaction that you get from games sometimes, like for beating what is seemingly just a small challenge, really, but it feels so gratifying. You're like, yes.
Particularly in the later levels where you fail in like 45 seconds and then you're like, well, we got a quarter of the way to 1 star.
There are some ridiculously hard levels, but it does, I mean, once you kind of get familiar with the patterns of each level, I think it's easy to master.
Yeah. In a similar vein, not so much a party game, more of a endeavour if you have a group of close friends. Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time, less party-ish and more getting a core group together to play through this over the course of a few hours. That's it's another good one where you've all got different roles and someone get on the shield, someone get on the front cannon. Oh, everything's gone crazy. There's aliens everywhere and everything. Yeah, but it's fun.
For games where you have competition, so if you wanted to have a tournament or just pit people against each other, if that's what you'd rather do rather than work together, there's a few that we would recommend. Gang Beasts.
Gang Beasts is...
so funny.
It's sloppy fun.
Yes. Very hard to control, but it's kind of done deliberately, kind of like a Surgeon Simulator where you can't really master the controls. And then you've got the ragdoll physics that come into play, which just make it hilarious to watch. It's a great spectator one.
Nothing's more charming than ragdoll physics in a punch-on.
And the costumes and the customizations you can do are a lot of fun as well. It makes it easy for everyone to identify and pick who their person is. But then you've got random levels and challenges within those levels as well that you can do while you're trying to beat everybody up.
Yes.
So it's got multiple levels to it, but ultimately we think like the best fun comes from just constantly switching out friends and having everyone just try to eliminate each other and get as many like points on the scoreboard, really.
Yeah, just do a quick first to 3 with a group of 4 people and then the winner stays on and the other 3 rotate out and that's just good times.
Absolutely. Similar to that, Push Me, Pull You.
Melbourne made, I believe.
Really?
Yes.
Go Melbourne.
Now, that's a game that I love to give no context to and just drop people in and suddenly they are a co-joined slug persons. I don't even know what they are.
They look kind of like a worm, I guess.
With a human at each end.
It's like cat dog.
It is
it's
exactly
cat dog,
like,
but humans.
It's an expandable cat dog.
Yes, you can shrink like an accordion.
With disgusting sounds. But every time we play Push Me, Pull You at a party, there's always the same reaction.
Yep.
What is going on? What is this? And I love it.
Similar vein, if we're going like to older games of competitiveness, you got Mario Party, which is a classic.
The old controller breaker.
Yes, but to be fair, I think that was one of my favourites. We loved playing that growing up, and we would get blisters on the palm of our hand from doing that stupid like reeling in one. Or there was one where you had to go like a mini game where you're going on a raft and you've got to steer.
A raft?
Raft?
Yes.
There's a T.
There is a T.
There is a T on the end of that word. Raft.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we used to make my sister Natalie do the steering because she was always better with the fast winding movement, better than the rest of us.
Those Nintendo 64 controllers, surprisingly uncomfortable. That central stick, that's not rubber coated. That's not smooth as butter. That will leave an imprint on your thumb.
Oh, yeah.
Within 10 seconds.
Easily.
And you're jamming that into your palm and...
We didn't know any better growing up. For us, that was it. Like, we didn't know they could be comfortable.
And that would leave those controller sticks loosey-goosey and absolutely useless after severe damage.
Although, my one is still fine. It is my controller. I don't know how it's lasted as well as it has, but of years of abuse, years of playing Mario Party and all of those games, and it still works fine. And touch wood. Just keep it that way. I think it was a little bit later that the Rabbids came on the scene.
Yes, the Rabbids.
Was that on the Wii?
Yes. I know I bought a multi-pack when I first bought my Wii, and it had Raving Rabbids included, and I thought, well, whatever, it's in a combo pack, I don't care. I'll probably never play this. And to be honest, wasn't that great, but there were still a few pretty hilarious mini games included in that. The ones where the boss is walking through the office, and as soon as he turns his back and leaves, you got to shake your Wiimote around and push all the buttons, and they start rocking on their seats and throwing little parties, and then you got to stop as soon as the door opens and be perfectly quiet.
See, we have, I know it wasn't like the most perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, but the whole point of party games is not that they're perfect, it's that they instill good memories and that you have a good laugh with your mates. And if you're having fun, ultimately it's achieved its goal.
Yes, so there was another one in that you had to stack a giant tower, a leaning tower of food and try to walk across planks between buildings. And it never ended well.
No.
It would be raining pancakes.
Oh, there were some good mini games in that one. And so I love things like that. I think they often bring out some pretty funny moments when you get people together.
Mini games. I just thought WarioWare smooth moves.
Yes.
Nothing made people feel stupid.
So weird. Now, technically, this is a single-player game.
Yes. Well, it has a few multiplayer modes, but they're not really that good.
No, you could only really have one form baton going at once. And my goodness, we had so many jokes come from this game because it was just so weird. And it was so out of left field. It became like a meme generator. It was just hilarious.
To get unsuspecting people and say, all right, you're next. And they'll stand up and it'll show them what pose to hold the controller in. And then a mini game starts and you have 6 seconds to finish it. And you're like, oh, what am I doing? Oh, it's a fishing rod. Okay, I'll move my fishing rod. And I caught the fish. Yay. Oh, next game. Yep. And then it'll show a different pose.
It did not give you any time to think whatsoever. You just had to react.
It'll be starting on your hip and you've got to slice it like a sword, or it'll be on your nose like an elephant, or on your top of your head. You've got to do squats and, oh, man. Just, you never know what's going to happen with that game.
In between bits when it teaches you like a new move, take the form baton and place it in your hand.
With the gentle dignity of a circus clown.
Oh, things like that just crack me up. But I think we still imitate, like, there's like this dance sequence at the very end if you make it that far. And it's like this weird, awkward, like, bobbing that you do. And I'm doing it right now. No one can see me.
Definitely awkward.
It was just hilarious, but it was so much fun to like get a mate and be like, here, you play this, and then if they got to that stage to just like sneakily get your phone out and start filming.
Yeah, we've definitely got some footage of family and friends making fools of themselves playing WarioWare Smooth Moves.
Absolutely.
Nintendo actually do have quite a lot of good party games, don't they?
But that's kind of their field. Nintendo primarily, I would say, focuses on family-friendly games. And I would say a lot of party games fall into that category for us. There is definitely, like, you could have party games made up of other, like, shooters and stuff like that if you wanted to. I mean, GoldenEye was on our list.
Yeah. But I think in recent years, they've done very well to implement one really good party game bundled in most of the time with their consoles when they launch. Yeah. The original Wii had the Wii Sports.
Yes.
And everyone wanted to play the tennis or the bowling and things like boxing. That. Or boxing. And, I mean, that sold millions of units just because it was shipped with the console.
But it was also a very unique new console as well. It was different from anything else on the market.
Yeah, and if someone had it, it's like, oh, can I have a shot of that? That looks like fun. And you just sort of pick it up and you play, and then you go home and you nag your parents because you want one too. And they did that with the Wii U as well with Nintendo Land.
Yes.
And that was a great little compilation. Some hits, some misses. The Wii U in general?
Well, the Wii U was just a missed ship. Really, they needed more games ready to go with it when it launched.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't understand. They just thought it was like a level up from the Wii.
It was terribly marketed.
It was. But also, they should have made Pokemon Snap. If it had come with Pokemon Snap, it would have sold way more.
Well, I can attest that I played a few games and they had basically you move the gamepad.
The
Zombie U, yeah.
See,
you move the gamepad and it moves your view.
Same thing. That's all you needed to do, Nintendo. Give us Pokemon Snap.
Please, it's been decades.
I need me some Pokemon photos. No, none of this Detective Pikachu stuff. I'm completely on a tangent.
Not on board with Detective Pikachu.
No, sorry. No.
Fair enough. You make a compelling argument.
That's all.
Well, what about Nintendo Land?
That I like?
Yes. Because there were some hits and some misses in that compilation.
Yes.
But off the top of my head, the Mario Chase minigame.
That's a lot of fun.
Especially with I'm actually quite a big fan of asymmetrical multiplayer, where you've got one person using the gamepad.
Yeah.
4 players can play on the TV, and you've got secret information from each other.
Yes. And that was also very innovative.
Yes.
I think some things have done it maybe with smartphones now, with using everyone having different information and stuff available to them like that. But prior to that, everyone's seeing the same stuff on the TV screen. So that had never really been an option before.
Yeah. So a fun little game of hide and seek. Mario runs off. The Toads try to catch him. They're trying to work together. Mario has a map. He can see where everyone is. And as soon as Mario gets spotted, it becomes a shouting match. He's in the red zone. He's in the yellow zone. He's back in the red.
Mm-hmm. And it's good because regardless of age, anyone can play it. It's got very simple controls.
Yep.
So that one's always fun. My favourite on that is the Luigi's Mansion.
Oh, yes.
So good.
It's another game of hide and seek, but with heart attacks. It's terrifying. If you're the ghost, it is the most fun because you're slowly stalking each person of this 4-person unit and eliminating them one at a time, like a good horror movie.
Yes.
But if you're one of the victims, suddenly not so fun. The hands get a bit sweaty.
Yes.
The heart rate accelerates.
And then the controller starts vibrating. You're like, no, they're near me.
I have played horror games in my time, and the fear level I feel playing that Luigi's Mansion minigame in Nintendo Land is pretty close to the peak.
It's so good. And the interesting thing is, like, it is in the favour of the ghost, but if you have some pretty skilled players as the hunters, then they can do pretty well because they've just got to survive the time limit. And if they keep reviving each other, then it suddenly becomes pretty hard for the poor ghost who has a certain amount of life. So... Yeah, it's a good game though. The other one that I do like on that is actually the Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing.
Trying
to collect the
lollies, and you get fatter, like you get a huge head.
Your head becomes enormous.
You start walking around really slow.
It starts sweating. It's entertaining.
So they use very similar mechanics of basically Tiggy, but reinventing it, I guess.
Or Tag,
whatever you want to say.
Is Tiggy Australian?
I don't know.
Tiggy.
Google it.
I haven't heard the word Tiggy in about 20 years.
Well, that's what we call it. Well, that's what I call it.
We've got a lot of these games on our PS4 in a nice little folder, ready to go. A couple of other weird things that people like to just throw out there, like Goat Simulator.
Yeah.
Is entertaining. If you need to keep a couple kids busy for half an hour, throw on Goat Simulator. Keep them entertained.
Because it doesn't matter what you push. There's no point to the game. It's just pure destruction. So for me, it's a great game to give to little kids that want to feel like they're playing a big kids game.
Sure. Lick a car. Jump off a crane.
Drag this person around a carnival for like an hour.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And that's another entertaining one.
Yes. And funny glitches. Who doesn't love that?
It's just I've found so many of these games that I'm thinking of that are coming to my head are on the Nintendo consoles. And with the Switch, let's not forget Snipper Clips.
Oh my word, yes! How did I forget that?
Snipper Clips is another one of those games that I love to watch people play because you think in your mind there is one solution to this puzzle.
Yeah.
And they will pull something out of the hat and go about it in a completely different way. And you're just sitting there going, oh.
And it worked.
That's not what I expected that to happen.
Oh, it's another one of those ones, kind of like Overcooked, where people get really angry at each other really fast.
Yeah, just rotate a little more and then trim me. No, you've done too much. Oh, you've dropped the ball.
It has come up with some pretty funny dialogue. We've had some young kids kind of play, and they'll be like, "Just stand still and let me cut you."
Yeah, not what you want to hear from a savage 5-year-old.
Hilarious out of context conversation.
Hold still and let me cut you. Nintendo, bringing smiles to serial killers everywhere.
Oh, gosh. There is one more I want to bring up, which is another oldie, and sadly probably one that's maybe not extinct, but...
Redundant? No?
I don't know about redundant, but
well,
I don't know if they're ever going to bring it back. They might be able to find a way to bring it back.
What are you talking about?
Rock Band.
Ah.
Yes. Now, this was obviously one where you had to bring the whole kit. Someone had to own the whole thing.
Someone had to shell out that big bucks we were talking about earlier.
Which was
for specialised
usually you.
Controllers. And then you had to have people with the motor skills as well. So, unlike a lot of these other accessible ones, Rock Band, Guitar Hero World Tour, quite a narrow market.
Yes.
But if you got the right people together, you could belt out the classics.
The reason I say Rock Band and maybe not Guitar Hero is because Guitar Hero is obviously limited to playing guitars, which requires a bit more motor skills. Rock Band, you had the options. You had 2 guitars. You had the drum kit, which was my go-to instrument, or vocals. Yes.
Well,
karaoke time. Thank you.
In one of what will be many occurrences over the course of this podcast where Brendo is actually right, I said Guitar Hero World Tour, which had all those instruments as well.
All right, bye.
But yes, I was actually quite bad at drums. I was an early adopter of Guitar Hero, so that was my jam. This voice ain't so good for singing, and I definitely had the rhythm of my white manishness, because I was terrible. I was an abysmal drummer. And I thought, I've got rhythm. I can play this Guitar Hero. I've been good at Buster Groove on PS1. I can play rhythm games on my Vita. I can handle this. Not when it's not just button presses and it's an actual, moving arms.
Oh, you got to work out playing
and feet. I couldn't do it.
I remember literally having sore arms and a leg, sore leg, because we played 5 or 6 hours of this straight one night. And I was just wrecked the next day. I felt like I'd done a workout at the gym. I had that muscle ache of doing weightlifting or something. I'm like, what has
musicians,
happened?
they can be athletes, let me tell you, when they have to go play those multi-hour sets.
Yeah. Drummers are just, definitely more fit than me.
So I wonder how many of those Rock Band sets actually still get used these days, or if they're the sort of things that just get popped in a cupboard somewhere or put on eBay or Marketplace and just
sold,
never to be seen again.
It's a little sad.
It definitely was a fad.
It was. It has the potential to come back, but I think because they were such expensive accessories and could only be used for those games, it's one of those things I just don't see necessarily, unless they can find a way to rethink it or make it more versatile.
Yep.
That I don't see it coming back.
Having said that, if you look on YouTube, there is a surprising amount of hardcore gamers that beat games like Bloodborne and things like that using guitar controllers.
What?
They map the buttons, and I have no idea how they manage it. They use those. They use like the Dance Dance Revolution dance pads.
I need to tell you, like, because those dance mat thingies came out like when I was pretty young, and I was at a sleepover at a friend's place, late 90s.
Okay.
And so she had one of those mats, and I can't remember for the life of me what the name was or anything like that, but we were so cheating. We each had like an arrow, and we were just like slamming
slap it
our
with your hand.
Yeah, we were each in charge of like when it came across the screen, because we tried to dance on it and it wasn't registering our feet. So we just like, well, okay, let's each person grab an arrow. We're just going to use our hands. And that's how we played it.
Some call that cheating. Some call it resourcefulness.
I think so. Hey, if it's not registering the feet, then you got to find something else. Hey, we were kids.
Yeah, well.
Kid logic. I'd still do it today. To be honest.
Well, I've actually played Guitar Hero with two people on one guitar to beat some of the ridiculous...
The really hard games? Yeah.
Like Through the Fire and Flames of Guitar Hero lore. Yeah, we've done that.
Honestly, I think I'd probably have better luck playing some of those songs in real life than on Guitar Hero.
It'd be pretty tough.
Mm-hmm. But some fond memories.
Yeah.
So those are just a few of our party games that we love.
Well, there are a lot out there. There's ones that
There's
we
heaps more.
have not even got a chance to play yet.
Yeah.
But
hey, if there are games that you think we've neglected on this list, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Games that you love, games that you think we should try at our next party. And we'll give them a go, because we're always looking for new things to add to our collection.
Indeed.
So, now that we've come to the close of another episode,
Mm-hmm.
we need new gaming goals.
Oh, this is where I always struggle. If I beat a game, I sit there and I think, what do I start next? Do I go trophy hunting in something I've already beaten? What do I do? Well, if I'm playing something, I'm like, yes, that's what I'm going to play. 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 And when I beat it, I get lost. I have no life direction anymore. So I have beaten God of War.
I'm like that, but it's more because I'm sad that I have to say goodbye to the characters. I'm like so lost without them. I'm like, I miss you. I want to go back into the world. I don't want to say goodbye.
I'm just cold and calculating and just sever those ties as soon as the credits roll. So I've beaten God of War.
Yes.
I will probably entertain some of that post-game optional content.
Yes.
Just because I am enjoying it. And
I do think you need to start something new, though.
Oh, that will be secondary. I need a new primary.
No, but your gaming goal has to be something big. It can't be something vague and, I'm just going to do a bit of this. No, it needs to be clean and clear.
What part of secondary don't you understand? That's I've got 10 minutes. I'll do a quick little run at this in God of War and get some loot.
I'm sorry, you made it sound like the other thing would be secondary, not your God of War stuff.
No. God of War is now secondary.
Okay.
Credits have
Well, thank
rolled.
you for clarifying.
Well, it's been clarified.
Well, now give me your gaming goal.
Well, I don't know what to do next. Maybe you could suggest something.
What shall we make you do, Brendo? I think it's time for you to switch consoles.
Mm-hmm. To what? Exactly. What console should I switch to?
Oh, the switch! Switch!
I missed the boat due to my, again, abundant backlog when last year's Game of the Millennia came out.
Yes.
Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I got that for a birthday present recently.
Yes, you did.
And I may play that.
From one incredible game to another.
I'm going to be spoiled.
You're not going to be able to go back to, like, your Sonic games?
Oh.
Sorry, Sonic games.
Don't break my heart. Sonic Mania Plus coming out soon. I'm excited. Mighty the Armadillo. Back again.
So my gaming goal...
What? See, underappreciated. What is your gaming goal, Jem?
All right.
What have you got for us?
So I technically failed So I'm keeping my gaming goal of finishing V3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and hopefully my health will allow me to concentrate on the big class trial that I have ahead. I had a bit of a bombshell dropped on me just before when I was playing through a bit earlier today, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but I'm shook. I'm shook.
There are feelings going on.
There are feels. Too many feels. So once I can collect myself, I will jump back into that. I kind of think, though, that it might take a couple more sessions for me to finish just guessing. And if
you hit it hard enough, I've played it, I know where you are. If you dedicate a large chunk of your existence to this game, you may be able to squeak it out by the time the next podcast drops.
Oh, okay. So I think... I don't know if I should have any other gaming goals. Do you think it's unfair, though, that if I'm carrying over my...
Well,
do you think I need a second one?
It's your goal.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, if you put up another goal, you're not going to reach this one again. So focus on this for now, but have a think of what's going to be up next after that.
Okay.
Because I'm going to be playing Zelda Breath of the Wild for like the next 6 months by the sounds of this game. So, nice way to just sort of give me that one. Oh, this is this week's gaming goal. No. It's going to take a while.
Well, you can always juggle more than one game, though.
Yep.
And if we find little things, like short indie games or things that we can do in between as kind of palate cleansers.
Absolutely.
Then that might be a good way to keep it moving, and that way you don't get sick of one particular game. I don't know if that ever happens to any of you, but like I know sometimes I'll be in a game and I'll get in a rut. I'll get frustrated with a certain level and I'll need to play something vastly different just so I can...
Just for a small break, and then that game gets shelved. Never played again.
Not never, just a year later. I promise, Cold Steel, I will get back to you. All right. Well, until next week.
Indeed.
Good luck with your gaming goals, Brendo.
You too.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Gaming Lovers podcast. To join the conversation, find us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Gaming Lovers, or follow us on Twitter at Brendo Jem. That's BrendoJem.